And what's up guys, the Game Awards 2024 has finished almost 24 hours ago, and Jeff Keighley didn't lie when he said that we are going to see something amazing. The Game Awards celebrated its 10th anniversary this year, and the show was really decent. But before the ceremony even began, I've seen lots of rumors about Half-Life 3 or GTA 6 being presented during the ceremony. Unfortunately, people who thought that were wrong. Both Valve and Rockstar are big enough companies to present their games on their own platform without any middleman. But returning to the presentation, the most incredible presentation that I've seen was the trailer of The Witcher 4. And of course, Jeff Keighley told us that we're gonna see lots of trailers for the games coming out in 2025, but The Witcher 4 is something for the far future. It is a cinematic, recorded using Unreal Engine 5 and rendered on not released yet graphics card from Nvidia. Same as with The Witcher 3, we have a short story in the Witcher world setting where people are planning to sacrifice a young woman in God's favor. But then we see some Witcher interfering in this process. And this Witcher is surprisingly Ciri from the same third part of the game. Now she has come through mutation, what we can understand by her cat eyes and the fact that she drinks Witcher's potions without any severe damage. And also she uses magic during the fight, so now, just a theory here by the way, we are going to have Ciri as a protagonist who has gone through mutations and now has the best of both worlds. The trailer, same as before the release of The Witcher 3, shows us the story, and I can only hope that this trailer, same as in the third part of the game, will be integrated in the game itself. But the first thing I've seen after entering Twitter is that CD Projekt Red has changed Ciri's design for the bat, comparing to the third part of the game. But I think that she looks quite okay for the person who grew older and now is not a teenager. But talking about the release date, keeping in mind that the development began in the spring of 2022, and keeping in mind as well that the size of the Witcher 3 game, I think that the release should be waited for at least PlayStation 6 or the next generation of Xbox, but that's in the best case scenario. CD Projekt Red have returned us the time when we got the cinematic, and we have to wait for 5 to 6 years until the game is released. But there is hope that since they dropped their own engine and now are developing the new game on Unreal Engine 5, the development will be a bit faster. Then in the presentation was pretty nice moment when the scene was occupied by Todd Howard, who was developing the Indiana Jones game, and Troy Baker, who was narrating Indiana Jones in the game, and then Harrison Ford himself appears, who played the main character in the original Indiana Jones films, and congratulates Troy Baker with how well he played Indiana in the game. Then the trailer was shown, which no one was waiting for. When I was watching the trailer, I didn't understand what type of game trailer am I watching. It was Elden Ring, but at the same time cooperative Elden Ring with new locations and new bosses. Fortunately, IGN has released the interview with the developer, so I can tell you what the hell this game will be. The new Elden Ring is not DLC, but a full spin-off from the original Elden Ring, where everything happens in the parallel universe. At the beginning of each gaming session, you can take up to 2 teammates and go to the Lingrave Zone, which existed in the original Elden Ring as well, where every time you'll meet different bosses and random challenges. Developers decided to take the RPG experience of the Elden Ring and compress it up to one session, during which you develop your own character and go forward and achieve some results. One session consists of 3 days of 15 minutes each. During the first day you can go wherever you'd like, but then the zone you can be in starts to shed, just like in any battle royale. And what's more fascinating, by the end of each day a boss will be waiting for you, and finally when the zone will shrink up to its minimal diameter, you'll have to fight the final boss, and your success will depend on your character's development during the first previous days. In order to make gameplay more pleasant, developers have added parkour, so now you can climb higher than in the original game. The fall damage has been switched off. For feeling Estus, the healing in the Elden Ring and Dark Souls as well, you do not need to sit by the campfire, you can just run near it. You can also resurrect the teammates, and bosses, as I mentioned before, are randomized in order to have better replay options, and each session was different than the previous one. And the game I described before will be released in year 2025. Finally, the gameplay of Borderlands 4 was shown, and here I can tell you that I have zero emotions about it. I don't know, maybe there's some problem in me, but it looks like Borderlands, it sounds like Borderlands, but somehow I do not care at all, even after playing the second and third part of the game as well. Either way, Helldivers 2. I stopped playing this game when Sony decided to ruin the game due to balance issues, PlayStation Network requirements, so now no one from my country can buy Helldivers on Steam, since officially Sony doesn't support Baltic states even though we are in European Union. I was waiting for patches for balance, something new in the game, and it happened. While watching the presentation, my game on Steam started updating, and a lot of new stuff was presented, like new threat, Illuminatis, who are killing citizens and creating zombies from their corpses. And now we're shown new locations with towns environment, where we are annihilating tons of zombies, and now we have a car with a goddamn minigun. That's a part of what I've been waiting for, despite all the hoops developers had to jump through because of Sony. And the last trailer that we have been shown for dessert was the trailer for the game Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet from Naughty Dog Studio. The thing which cannot be unnoticed is the product placement everywhere, from Porsche Starship to the Adidas sneakers and audio system from Sony, and so on. I suppose that is happening because of the failure of Concord game, which was a pretty big failure for Sony, so now they have to get money from somewhere, so I suppose that product placement in their new game is kind of okay. Anyway, the protagonist is the bounty hunter who is discussing the new contract with the agent. As Jeff Keighley told us, the project was secretly developing since 2020, so since the release of The Last of Us Part 2, so we'll have a completely new game from Naughty Dog, and to be honest, I'm pretty glad that they are trying something new. I think they are pretty tired of being a company which is only creating Last of Us franchise, its remakes and remasters. But unfortunately the release date for the new game was not announced yet. But still, not going far from Naughty Dog, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered will be released on PC on the 3rd of April 2025. And yes, the page has appeared in Steam. So now the bingo card of PlayStation exclusives is complete with every game available on Steam. And even that was not enough. The Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, another PlayStation exclusive which was nominated for the Game of the Year, is coming to PC in January 2025, so essentially in a month. And also Obsidian, who are preparing for the Avowed release in 2025, has presented us with the trailer of The Outer Worlds 2, which will be released in 2025 as well. It still looks like Outer Worlds, but kinda better and more beautiful. But let's finish with the games coming soon and talk about the winners of the Game Awards. So, what I was glad to see was Black Myth Wukong winning in the Player's Voice category, since the competitors were DLC and 3 free-to-play games. Innovation in accessibility went to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. In nomination for the best adaptation won, surprisingly for me personally, not Arcane series but Fallout series from Amazon. Another one for Black Myth Wukong was in the nomination for the best action game. The best multiplayer game won Helldivers 2, and here I can tell that despite all of the problems with the game, Helldivers was something new in terms of multiplayer for me personally, so here, well done. But we do not stop here with the Helldivers. Another win is in the best ongoing game. I personally would give the victory to Fortnite since all the changes they are adding to the game, but whatever. Best RPG went to Metaphor Refrantasio. Cannot comment on this category since I have not played any of the games nominated for the prize. Another win for Metaphor was in the Best Art Direction and Best Narrative category, and same as before, have not played any of the nominees as well. And no surprise, for the next category, most anticipated game is GTA 6. Like, no fight here, I suppose they even couldn't make this category, they could just say like, most anticipated game, everybody knows GTA 6. But whatever. But the best highlighter of all nominations was Astrobot, which won Best Family Game, Best Action Adventure Game, Best Game Direction, and finally, the most controversial win during the whole presentation, the Game of the Year also went to Astrobot. To be honest, I thought that it will be Wukong or Metaphor based on the wins in previous categories and Metacritic's rating, but this win made me think about, to be honest, corruption during choosing the winning game. But on the other hand, we have indie developer with Belletro, Chinese game which won't be allowed to win the main prize due to politics or whatever, DLC for Elden Ring, still to be honest don't know what the hell it was doing there, and 2 JRPGs which are okay on YouTube, but not the game which lots of players are fond of. I suppose that journalists were just compassionate for the Astrobot which didn't achieve great results on the market, and it was just type of voting against everybody. On the downsides of the presentation, 3-hour-long presentation with around 2 hours of ads, trailers of cozy indie games which will never be played on a mass level, anime gacha games with its 2.0, 3.0 updates, cringy jokes, long-lasting speeches, and so on. The only thing that stood out was Snoop Dogg invited to sing his songs there, but it was completely out of the audience in the room, since the people there and the action what was going are completely two different things. The good thing was Aaron Paul from the Breaking Bad announcing that he takes part in the new game from the developers of Wolf Among Us, in pretty much same stylistics as The Walking Dead. Another trailer was the trailer, of course, of the Mafia: The Old Country, which will be released in summer 2025, one of the most anticipated games next year, I suppose, but I personally am not a fan of the series after Mafia 3, but the setting, to be honest, is kinda pretty interesting, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, comparing to other presentations, I honestly enjoyed this one. It was long, sometimes boring, but the presented games, especially cinematics for The Witcher 4 for me personally, was worth waiting. In any case, thank you for joining in, likes and comments can be put down below, and see you here next time.